You've seen him on King of Queens and Sex and the City, and you've heard him on Family Guy and The Cleveland Show. Amazing stuff that Craig Gass does as he joins us live in the studio. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in.
I'm just noticing how big my head is compared to a normal-sized head. I look like a Thanksgiving Day parade.
Come on.
It's parade float.
Parade float. There you go.
Or otherwise known as a parrot, if you want to abbreviate that.
You're very popular this time of year.
Yeah, I am.
At the parade.
Yeah.
All right.
Enormous cranium.
We've heard your voice for years, but you have a unique story that goes along with that, how you got into voice work.
Yeah, I'm known as a guy who can do impressions. I've always been able to do any voice that I hear, and it's because of how I grew up. And this is not a joke, this is a true story. Everybody in my family is deaf. My mom, my dad, and my sister are all completely deaf. So growing up in a deaf family, I couldn't learn how to talk for my family. I learned how to talk by copying all the voices I heard on TV, and never got an accent from the Bronx, which is where I'm from. And I always say that everybody in the Bronx sounds like Tracy Morgan. Everybody in the Bronx sound like this, whether you black or white, male or female. That's crazy. That is crazy.
That is.
By the way, have you ever had Tracy on your show?
Never had him here, no.
Certifiably insane.
Really?
Yeah, he is every time I've seen him.
He appears that way on TV.
Every time I see him, it's always a crazy conversation. I'll go, hey Tracy, I don't know if you remember me, and he'd go, yeah, that's my Bobo. That's my Bobo. And I go, I don't even know what that means. Well, but yeah, he's crazy.
It's one of those Bronx terms, I guess.
Yeah. Everyone who I do an impression of, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
no, go ahead.
has tried to meet me, and it's always led to awkward moments. I did a roast of Richard Belzer, and before we did the roast, Richard invited me to sit down with him and Christopher Walken, and insisted that I do a Christopher Walken impression for Christopher Walken. And Christopher Walken hated me. He was not in the mood to hear impressions, and Belzer kept saying, here, just do your impression. I go, listen, I don't know if this sounds like you or not, but what I try to do is I try to sound as weird as possible, and then I say the word cowbell. Pow! And Walken just looked at me and went, wow. And Belzer kept saying, wait, you got to hear some more. Here, do your Adam Sandler. And I go, hey, I don't know if you know this voice, shibby-doo, shibby-doo. And then he said, all right, do your Sam Kinison. Now I'm screaming at Christopher Walken going, I don't know if you know who this guy is, but he used to be a preacher, and then he lost his mind. Oh, oh! And Walken just went, I get it. You're talented. Good for you. And I went, I'm not. He's trying to do this, not me. It just led to a really awkward moment. But that is the entire show in West Palm this weekend. We're doing one show on Friday, one show on Sunday. We're taking Saturday off, and it's a show about impressions and stories about people who I do impressions of, who have tried to meet me, and it's always led to awkward moments.
You know, I love guests like you. I just ask one question, and then I just sit there and listen and crack up.
Yeah, there's been a lot
I'm a good audience.
You are. You're a great audience, actually. Yeah, there's a lot of fun moments when you have celebrities come up and try to correct you on their impression.
I love it.
When you have Mark Wahlberg go, how come you always make me sound like I'm always out of breath? I'm not always out of breath. Why do you always do that? Come on, feel it.
Pumping iron all the time. That's what it is.
That's him in every movie.
All right, lastly, before you go, you were a pretty popular guest on the roast of Gene Simmons. How'd that come about?
I did an impression of Gene Simmons on the Howard Stern show that bothered Gene Simmons so much that he got on a plane and flew to New York to confront me live on the air about my impression of him. And the problem was I kept interrupting all the music guests as Gene Simmons and saying, I'm sorry to interrupt this interview with Paul McCartney. Incredible interview, but let's be honest. Everything that the Beatles did was stolen from Kiss. Go to kissonline.com. And I just created a huge enemy with Gene, and then there's actually a piece that you'll hear at West Palm Beach at the Improv here this weekend called I Think Gene Simmons is Going to Kill Me. That is a 20-minute piece that you'll get a kick out of. So.
Rock on. All right. Craig Gass, he's live at the Palm Beach Improv Friday and Sunday. Give him Saturday night off to recoup. You can buy tickets online or at the door. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you, buddy.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
That was fun.
All right, it was fun.